Okay, that was a lot of explaining. Now we can get to the meat and potatoes. Oh, hi, and welcome back, by the way. I'm sorry I'm so up and cheerful. I gotta get back into my pretend professional tone. Nice and calm. Bob Ross, Bob Ross. Wait a minute, I can't play Bob Ross without my afro. Where's my afro? Later. Alright, so let's get into the tutorial and try to calm down. Sorry, my husband just came home and his goofy self, and now I'm all smiles and laughs, and I can't stop and get my voice back to how it was in the previous tutorial. Okay, let's try. Okay, hi everyone, and welcome back to a Mighty Ginkgo tutorial. My name is Zero, and I'm still mumbling through these tutorials, teaching you guys how to make hair. So we have explained all the fun things about Vroid, and that got you guys prepared with the textures and the parameters, and now it's time to actually get in there and make some hair. I'm going to I'll let you guys know that I actually reset the program so that everything is nice and smooth. This is just a crazy thing for me, so you can see where we are from scratch and don't have everything all over. You don't have to reset it, but if you want to follow along, you totally can. Okay, so now I'm going to select my brush tool, my brush pen thingy, and I'm going to add in a free group. The first thing I'm going to do is start to change the way the net is. Like I said before, we don't want it to the face. We want to make sure it's nice and smooth. So I'm going to go and select the arrow and go down and then turn off at the head so that it's nice and smooth. After that, we're going to assign ourselves a texture from our texture pack. And you guys can play along and pick whatever texture you want, but for the sake of this lesson, I'm going to go with my go-to two-toned hair texture, and I'll tell you why in a moment, if I didn't tell you in the previous video. So I need black on top, white on bottom. That's my favorite. I used to wear this all the time back in the day when I had first started Second Life. Okay, so I have my texture here, and we want to clear all the color base stuff, so no Miku for us, please. White, highlight, black. There we go. Now, let's dive in and start doing her hair. Now, one of the things that we found out during our research is that when it comes to making hair, you need to have your hair done in layers. I've seen a lot of hair studios in Second Life, particularly this one hair store that is done by a person who actually does hair in real life. And what he does with his hair is that he does layering. Layering of there. So it's a bottom layer of the hair around the base, and then the top, and then there's a bottom, middle, top fringe. That's pretty much the anatomy of any hairstyle in Second Life, or any hairstyle in general. I'd like to give a quick shout out to my mom who helped bring this technique to life, because I couldn't figure out how the people in Second Life were doing styled layered hair. And she says, in like all her wisdom, half asleep, doped up to her eyelids on brain medication, and says to me, "Is it like sewing in tracks?" Yes, so it is. I'm like, tracks. Ma, you're a genius. So anybody who's ever done hair tracks or sew-in weaves in real life, you are going to excel at this, because it is basically the same thing. You're going to, without having the braids, the mesh hair will act as the braids. What you're supposed to do is make hair at the bottom first. Then we'll create a new layer and put hair on top of that hair. Then we'll move up the scalp and make another one if you're fancy, although you can just get away with a top and bottom one. And then we're going to form our bangs in the front and then style it how we want. And that is pretty much the anatomy of hair. What you need to, the anatomy of any hairstyle. The hard part is deciding what kind of hairstyle you're going to go in. Now, I know you want to just jump in and start making marks all willy-nilly, but you'll have to stop and think about how you are going to rig that hair. I had an example of different types of hair styles that there are, but I guess we can just skip that and go into, I don't know, just making the default bob, the training bob, and then you can just explore out from there with different hair types. Yeah, I think I'll do that, and we'll yeah, we're gonna do that. I got an idea. It's like it just popped into how I'm gonna proceed with this. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is that I am gonna close Facebook because I'm gonna get notifications off that post all night. I knew it. Okay, so turn Facebook off, turn it down. Hopefully my husband not having an emergency in the back and he's calling for help via text. Okay, so what we're going to do is the equivalency of the t-shirt and pants tutorial that I do in Marvelous Designer. I'm going to teach you how to make the basic layered bob. Or it might be a pixie cut. I'm not sure. I didn't look at all the terminologies. But we're going to make a basic short haircut. And then once you get that, you can just apply that to different styles. So we have our base hair and our net. And we're going to need 2 materials for this. Well, for every layer, you're going to want to give yourself a different material slot for it, even if it's using the same texture. This is going to help us later on when we're inside a blender in case we have to edit some parts. We don't have to edit the whole thing. We can actually pull out layers at a time and make adjustments to it, and do it that way. So since this is going to be a short haircut, we're going to go and open up our edit tool here, and we're going to turn on our symmetry because this is a symmetrical haircut. At least all the construction parts is symmetrical. We can get all fancy once we get into the front, but for the back everything is pretty much symmetrical. So we want to pull this close to the neck and turn off while I suck it in, and pull the back part in close to the scalp. Same thing down here. So we have this kind of cranial shape. There we go, little curved cranial. We're going to turn on our mirror tool and we're going to start painting the bottom of it. This is where your artistic creation comes in. Whether or not... How is it still sending me notifications when I turn that? Alright, hang on 1 second. Put my phone to sleep. Power off. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is going to be the bottom part of your neck. The back of your hair, also known as the kitchen in some hair doing circles. We're going to work in the kitchen and build our way up. So we can either use large paneling down here in the kitchen to get all the cover, since nobody's really going to see that anyway. And then we have the base. And if you feel that it's too far away from the head, you can go back into the editing mode here and we can push it closer to the head. The thing is, it's okay to push the kitchen into your head because it hides these layers right here at the top. I know in some cases you could just make the tip narrow, but I just found that it's a lot easier to just slap it inside your head like this, so it kind of looks like your hair is coming out of the bottom. It looks good. At least I think so. Alright, so your kitchen is established. You can't have a good home without a good kitchen. Some silly thing like that. Alright, now that we have this done, we can either do one of 2 things. We can make a duplicate of this base, or we can create a new one. So something I learned, if you have the layer selected, a layer of established hair selected, and you press add new free group, it'll make a duplicate of the list of the type that you had highlighted. So this is the exact same net shape right now. But if we wanted to have a nice, fresh, free, brand new one, all we have to do is just select our arrow, make sure nothing is selected, and then we press new freehand group, and it creates that basic net on top of it, which can be helpful when you get to the outer layers. So I'm just going to close the eye on that because we don't need it, and go back inside here on our cloned kitchen. So once we have our kitchen established, we're going to create another layer on top of it. So we're going to select the edit nodes here, the edit dots, and stretch the grid outside of the kitchen. Okay, now this is going to be the fancy, pretty ones that people are going to see. So if you want, Well, first you need to duplicate it, and I'm not and select it. So even if you press duplicate, it doesn't automatically select the new layer. It stays on the first one. So you don't want to make the mistake that I did by pressing duplicate and thinking that I was being really efficient, but I was still making everything on the same layer. So select, make sure your duplicate layer is select. And I'm not sure if it's like Marvelous Designer where it doesn't matter if it's a duplicate or a material or not, as long I'm getting all over the place. Sorry, let me calm down again. I don't know if it is like Marvelous Designer where even if you assign a material to it, if it's the same color, it registers as the same material. That's always a pain. So I just made it a habit to slightly tint down, just very ever so slightly, so that it's a different color from the first color layer, which helps you identify it when you're changing out textures or whatever. So we have it, our second layer, and we want to go on top of it and just pull it down however you want. Make sure that your lines are consistent here. Your colors are matching up. You don't want to just go like this and like that, and then you got whites all over there. Ugh, that's gross. So unprofessional. When you come to the center, you may find it is difficult to make a smooth line like that. You can always turn off your symmetry and then just go straight down like this, and it fills it in as well. So you see we're getting some layering going on here. It is up to you whether or not you want to have thick layers like this, or what up, homie?
Phone around.
Phone ring?
Falling around.
Oh, you gotta do laundry. There's a blanket in there.
Sorry to interrupt. Carry on.
Sorry, y'all. Gotta hurry up. Then husband needs to use the laundry. All right, so I'm gonna give you an example. We can change the width and make it smaller. Oh, turn the mirror back on. And you can get the same thing done with thinner panels, but it will take more geometry to fill that space rather than using big panels. But it does have a certain look to it, don't you think? So it really does depends on how much poly you're trying to waste on it, what style you want to have. But I personally prefer the big ones because they're lighter. That's why I said about that smoothness earlier. You don't want to have a whole bunch of little powerful strands. I usually use smaller things for fringe, what are they called, side locks and bangs. So let's go back to using the big panel so it covers up more head, so we can waste space on smaller fringy dingly thingies. So let me see, here we got this. Now we're going to do the top of our head, our crown, and this is where we would have those pretty layers coming in. Let's go into edit mode and stretch it out a little bit more. Do I have mirror mode on? Just overlaying it. Okay. So now we can use the other one. Now make sure you're starting from the top of your head. Don't dive in from the middle. So top of your crown on down. So I like to go from the back to the front, because if you go from the front to the back, then you risk having your highlight, I don't even know what these are called, your tips lining up wrong. So back, front, top of the scalp. And don't worry, we're going to close up the top at Blender, so if you are like totally not on center all the way, it's okay. Blender will fix this. So start at the top of your head and work your way down. Oh, there we go. Now make sure you're stopping at white. Try to get nice smooth streaks. try to get nice, smooth strokes. This is why I said it'd be easier with your tablet than it is with the mouse. I mean, it's not impossible to do, but I'm having a little more difficulty making smooth strokes with a mouse than I did with a keyboard. Not keyboard. Oh, tablet. Now you see them all crunching up at the top. Don't worry about that. Like I said, we're gonna sew the closure up in Blender. Oh, did you see what I did wrong? Oh, all of it is on the first layer as the kitchen. Damn it. Hang on, let me see if you can try this. I remember you could do this in the old one. Let's see if you can do it in the new one. So selected, duplicate, new material, select this, change the color just to see. Damn. No. Oh wait, you can. It is. Let me change it to pink, something dramatic. Yay, there it is. Okay. So we managed to give it its own layer. Woo, lucky. Alright, so let's keep on keeping on. Make sure everything is on the right. Let's get those two out of here. You two. Out of the way. Alright, let's get back into sculpting the neck crown. Now we got this gap in the back. Is it in the kitchen? God damn, it's in the kitchen again. Down here, please. Thank you. Wait, are all of these hair on here? Yeah, they all back in the kitchen. I push undo too many times. Third layer, please. And then we create our new one on the third layer. Sculpt it again. Now, I made a mistake right there. You really don't, you can, but you don't want to intersect hairs like that. You want to try to avoid that because sometimes it causes texture failure on alpha textures. So I'm putting it in here, but whatever. Alright, so it's okay. We got this little gap right here. Like I said, we're going to sew that up in Blender. I'm going to turn off this and try to fill in the gap with a single strokes, not the mirror. And again, top to bottom, drag it down and make sure your stuff lines up. And if you see any clipping, make sure you pull it out. Because if it clips in here, then it's going to clip later on. So, edit, pull this out, down and out. If you see any gaps, fill the gaps. Do not leave gaps. Gaps are bad. Top. You gotta fill it in. Beat it, Rosie. Hit them bricks. It's my cat trying to find love. Yeah, like this right here. That's bad. So let's see if I can edit this one. I just choose to hide it. There you go. That's an extra strand that didn't need to be there. Alright, so we got this in. That's looking pretty good. I want it to be smooth. Okay, so now we have our bottom, we have our top. Now if you see that I think that this layer down here is a little too short. I want it to hide the black underneath here. So I can find this group and I can grab the edit thing and we can pull it down. So it may have created some gaps, so we could go up here to this layer and try to correct it. And go up to the top. Fill in. Okie doke. So we got half of the head done, and it's looking pretty good if I do say so myself. Actually, no, this part doesn't. Yeah, there you go. Cover up that white. You can add more. I'm being picky now with trying to fill in like the black under, because I like it. Like, hey, top color on top, color on bottom. That's wrong. There we go. Yeah, good enough. Alright, so now we have that. Now it's time for our front part of the head, our side locks. I can't stop calling it side locks. I played a game, and that's what they called it. Your side locks and your hair loopies. So I'm going to do our sides, and then I'll top it off with the bangs. So I actually think that the side locks and bangs can be on the same layer. It really depends on you. These are usually what I use the narrow strands for. Because, you know, this, in my opinion, is a lot prettier than I got my hair parameter width at 0.35. So that looks a lot prettier to me than this. I mean, they both work, and it covers up the amount of, space without having to use it. So, hey, look at me talking bad about it, and now I'm using it. Alright, nothing wrong with wide. Alright, in the middle, medium. It's not wide, but it's thicker than thin. So I like to do anime style hair, so I like to kind of curve it down, go from top and swirl a little. I don't know. I'm trying to keep everything nice. Make sure the same point origin out the top of my head. And then again down here, and just gotta close up the top of my forehead. You don't want to go too far down. Remember, this is not an approximate of the head. So if you go too far down, you may end up with your bangs. And of course, I'm on the wrong layer, guy. You may end up with your bangs in your forehead. Your eyes. And that's not good. Alright, so we have tutorial hair. I'm going to select this layer. Go on to edit and give it its own texture. And do the test and see if it changed any. Hopefully I'm not crashing it. Shoot. I'm not sure if it select everything. Oh hell. Why does it do this to me? Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Can you select multiple? Nope. None of y'all could have told me that was happening. Y'all saw me messing up. It's gotta be a better way than that. Alright, fine. We'll do what we usually do. We'll fix it in Blender. Alright, so we have our hair. Yay. And it's done. I always feel like I messed it up by making it too close, and then I end up with like my traditional pulling it out here. I smell chemicals. My husband must have opened up that refrigerator. Alright, so this is like, there you go, traditional old school anime Second Life hair. So we have the base of our hair done. All we have to do now is export it and then work it in Second Life. Oh yeah, remember how I was talking about those other hairstyles? I guess I'll just add those on as extra. That way you can see how you can make other hairstyles in here. Now, you don't have to use this technique here. Like I said before, it's all up to you. It's all style. If you want to pull things out, you want to fix things, you want to clank, do what you want, you can do what you want. Have fun, play around. This is just the basic. As long as you follow the proper anatomy of layering, because that makes all the difference. So we're going to export this hair out now. I feel like I want to play with it some more, like, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, time to export. No, wait, that part's not fine. It's not fine at all. Round. Okay. Now it looks a little... Okay, now it's fine. I'm sure you guys don't notice any difference, but I saw everything. Alright, so what we want to do to export, we're going to go up to the top bar, and we're going to hit Camera Exporter. And then we want to hit Export. Now, it is very tempting to press this button right here that says Export Hair as OBJ, and it's only being quad mesh, but do not press that button. We don't want that button because it will erase all of the layers that we do and ruin all that hard work that we just did and make everything one solid mesh with one solid layer, one solid material. So we don't want that. We'll lose that. Also, if you have one ape with this creation thing, and you realize you need to decimate, when you decimate when it's in quads like this, it will mess up the texture. Now, if you use what I'm about to do now, just do the regular export, you can decimate in Blender and not have it mess up your textures too badly. So, we want to just hit the export button and wait for the menu to pop up. Yay! Now, it's required for you to put your name on here and an author, the name of the file, author, whatever. But none of this is important because whatever, it's not important. So just put a random letter, number, whatever, and then just hit OK. When you're done, you're going to go to your project folder, which is going to be here for class, and you're going to save your file. Now, I'm just leaving it as a default vroid.vrm. I just want to check and see if they edit anything. But you can name these, especially if you plan on making a whole bunch of hairs. You don't want to have to override hair by naming everything Vroid. So make sure you name it. But for right now, we're not. So you hit save and wait for it to finish processing. And then we're ready to go into Blender. Now wait, before we go, you may want to save your project for later. Come back, you just hit file and then save as, and then whatever this is, and then hit save. And that way when you load up Vroid again, you can just come back in here and play with this hair, so if you want to. So nothing is lost. Okay, darlings, we're gonna hop on over, skipping a step, to Blender and start manipulating this hair and making it all Second Life ready. So see you there.